he really predict the future? Who was Nostradamus? Well, I can tell you straight away that he did not predict anything beyond his own time, beyond the 16th century. Nostradamus was an astrologer and a physician, I mean, doctor by the standards of the time. I mean, he also made jams and sauces, and he lived in the early part of the 16th century. He tried to find a cure for the plague, which was rampant at the time, but he wasn't very successful. In fact, his wife and his two sons died of the plague. He survived it, and he remained very popular. He married again and had 6 more children, and he became a favorite of Catherine the Medici. He wrote a number of almanacs with quatrains, 4 lines each, in which he made some predictions for the time, and this made him quite popular. In fact, what are considered his predictions, les siècles, the centuries now, is a collection of these almanacs, which consists of 943 quatrains. Now, there is absolutely no chronology. They are all very vague. They're written in archaic French. They're all full of images and metaphors and ambiguity, so you can interpret them any way you like. Now, in these quatrains, there is no mention of any person who lived beyond his time, who wasn't living at that time. There is no mention of Churchill, there is no mention of Kennedy, there is no mention of Stalin or Lenin or any of the modern figures, or Darwin, for example, such important figures, no mention of any of them. There is no mention of any cities or countries which did not exist at that time. I mean, obviously, if he knew the future, he would mention perhaps Hong Kong or Singapore or Uruguay or Argentina or Brazil, these places that we know so well and which are so important nowadays. No, he didn't mention anything. It is an industry that has been created by these writers of books and creators of movies and pseudo-documentaries that present him as being somebody who actually predicted the future. I'm going to read you a quatrain, and then I'll talk about it. I'm going to read you the translation from this book, which has got the original, the book by Erica Cheetham. And it says, "Beasts wild with hunger will cross the rivers. The greater part of the battlefield will be against Hister. He will drag the leader in a cage of iron when the Germain child observes no law." Now, according to many, Hister is an anagram of Hitler, and Germain refers to Germany. But in actual fact, it's not true. Hister is the name they used at the time for the lower part of the river Danube, and Germain meant either brother or cousin. So in actual fact here, he's referring to the river Danube, not to Hitler. If he wanted to refer to Hitler, he would have said Hitler, you know? So this book has interpretations of his predictions. Because this book was published in 1973, there is nothing beyond the 1973 that is true. In a documentary presented by Orson Welles, made in the early 80s, there are predictions that are supposed to happen after the 80s. But if you watch it now, you'll notice that none of these predictions came true. In videos on YouTube that are supposed to predict what is going to happen in 2023, you'll find that none of them make sense. None of them make any hits. So it's absolute nonsense. Nobody can predict the future. We can only see these as predictions if we look at them now and try to fit something in. It's called retrofitting. I will talk more about predictions and the future in another vlog. In the meantime, if you have any comments or questions, you can send me an email on shetiko@gmail.com, and I'll try to talk about it. In the meantime, thank you for watching.